Is it possible for a cartoon panda, known for his clumsiness and love of dumplings, to be a modern-day Buddha? It sounds crazy, right? One's an ancient spiritual master who found enlightenment under a Bodhi tree, and the other is a fictional character from a beloved animated film. And yet, when you peel back the layers of the story, Kung Fu Panda, you find something profound. You discover that a clumsy panda named Po and an ancient prince named Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, aren't so different. They're both on a path to find their purpose, their inner peace, and their true selves. Most people watch Kung Fu Panda and see a fun kids movie about martial arts and dumpling, but hidden beneath those colourful animations and Jack Black's hilarious voice acting lies something much deeper. This seemingly simple story about a panda learning Kung Fu is actually retelling one of humanity's greatest spiritual journeys. The same transformation that happened to a prince named Siddhartha over 2,500 years ago is playing out right before our eyes, complete with ancient wisdom disguised as entertainment. Part 1. The problem with being ordinary. Every great spiritual journey starts with the same crushing realization. Something is deeply wrong with the way things are. For Po, that problem is crystal clear from the very first scene. Here's this lovable panda, stuck behind a noodle cart, watching Kung Fu legends through his bedroom window, like they're living in a completely different universe. He's like a round peg who wants to go into a square hole. He dreams of being special, of mattering, but every mirror reflection tells him the same harsh truth. He's just an ordinary, clumsy panda who can barely fit through doorways. This isn't just cartoon comedy, this is the universal human condition wrapped in animated fur. Po represents every person who's ever felt stuck in mediocrity, watching others live the life they desperately want but believe they'll never ascend to. His father keeps pushing those noodles, convinced that soup making is Po's destiny, while Po's heart screams for something greater. Sound familiar? Now here's where it gets fascinating. 25 centuries ago, a prince named Siddhartha was dealing with the exact opposite problem, but it led to the same spiritual crisis. While Po felt trapped by his ordinary life, Siddhartha was trapped by his extraordinary one. Locked away in a palace, surrounded by luxury and pleasure, he was completely shielded from the real world. His father, the king, made sure young Siddhartha never saw anything ugly, painful, or disturbing. Every day was perfect, every need met, every desire fulfilled. But just like Po staring out his window at the Kung Fu masters, Siddhartha started sensing there was something more to existence than what he could see from his comfortable prison. Part 2, the moment everything changes. Then comes the moment that changes everything. For Po, it happens in the most ridiculous way possible. He's desperately trying to watch the Dragon Warrior selection ceremony, straps himself to a chair with fireworks, and literally crashes through the roof of the Jade Palace. One minute he's a nobody watching from the sidelines, the next minute he's accidentally being declared the chosen one by the wise old tortoise master Oogway himself. The beautiful thing about this scene is how it shows that enlightenment often comes when we least expect it, through paths we never planned. Po wasn't trying to become the Dragon Warrior, he was just trying to see the ceremony. But sometimes the universe has other plans, and what looks like a complete accident turns out to be exactly what needed to happen. For Siddhartha, his awakening moment came through what Buddhists call the 4 sights. During rare trips outside the palace, he encountered an old man, a sick person, a dead body, and a monk who had renounced worldly life. These 4 encounters shattered his perfect bubble and showed him that suffering, aging, and death were the real truth of existence. His comfortable life had been built on ignoring reality. Both Po and Siddhartha experienced that jarring moment when their old understanding of the world completely collapsed. Po realized he might actually be capable of greatness. Siddhartha realized his privileged life was an illusion hiding universal suffering. Different revelations, same earth-shaking impact. Part 3. The journey inward. Here's where both stories take their most important turn, inward. After Master Oogway selects Po as the Dragon Warrior, everyone expects Po to transform into this incredible fighter overnight. Po expects it too. He's waiting for some magical moment when he'll suddenly know Kung Fu, when he'll become worthy of the title that was thrust upon him. But Master Shifu puts him through brutal training and Po keeps failing. He can't do a single move correctly. He's too slow, too clumsy, too heavy. Everyone, including Po himself, starts believing that Oogway made a terrible mistake. The doubt grows stronger every day. Maybe he really is just a fat panda who belongs behind a noodle cart. In ancient India, Siddhartha went through his own version of this struggle. After leaving his palace life, he tried to find truth through extreme self-denial. He stopped eating, stopped sleeping, punished his body, thinking that suffering would lead him to enlightenment. For 6 years, he pushed himself to the brink of death, becoming so thin he could feel his backbone through his stomach. Both characters were making the same mistake, looking for transformation in all the wrong places. Po thought Kung Fu mastery would come from copying the Furious Five's techniques. Siddhartha thought spiritual awakening would come from destroying his physical desires. Neither approach worked because both were trying to become someone else instead of discovering who they already were. Part 4. The Secret of the Dragon Scroll. Now comes a brilliant plot twist. Po finally earns the right to read the Dragon Scroll, the ancient secret that supposedly contains unlimited power. He opens it with trembling paws, expecting to find some profound wisdom, some secret technique that will make him invincible. The scroll is completely blank. Po's first reaction is pure panic. The scroll that's supposed to save everyone from the vengeful Tai Lung contains absolutely nothing. But then his father shares the secret ingredient to their family's noodle soup. There is no secret ingredient. The soup is special because people believe it's special. The magic isn't in some hidden formula. It's in the belief itself. This moment represents one of Buddhism's core teachings, Buddha nature. The Buddha discovered that enlightenment isn't something you gain from outside yourself. It's not a reward for good behavior or a prize for spiritual achievements. It's your original nature, the awareness that was there all along, just covered up by layers of confusion and self-doubt. When Siddhartha sat under the Bodhi tree for his final meditation, he wasn't trying to become the Buddha. He was uncovering the Buddha he already was. The word Buddha literally means awakened one. Not someone who gained something new, but someone who woke up to what was always true. Po's realization mirrors this perfectly. He doesn't need to become worthy of being the Dragon Warrior. He needs to realize he already is worthy exactly as he is. His clumsiness isn't a flaw to overcome. It's part of his unique approach to Kung Fu. His love of food isn't a weakness to suppress. It's a source of motivation and joy that makes him unstoppable. Part 5. Finding Inner Peace. The final test comes when Po faces his greatest enemies. Against Tai Lung, he wins not through traditional Kung Fu techniques, but by using his natural abilities in unexpected ways. His soft belly deflects attacks. His flexibility allows him to bend in impossible directions. His genuine good nature confuses his opponent, who expected hatred and fear, but the real breakthrough happens in the second film when Po confronts Lord Shen and his fire-breathing cannons. This is where Po learns the deepest lesson, inner peace. Not the fake calm of suppressing emotions, but the real peace that comes from accepting yourself completely, including your painful past. Lord Shen had destroyed Po's village when he was a baby, killing his parents and leaving him orphaned. When Po discovers this truth, he has every reason to be consumed by anger and revenge. Instead, he chooses something revolutionary. He lets go, not by pretending the pain doesn't matter, but by choosing not to let that pain control his actions. This is exactly what the Buddha taught about the 3 poisons: greed, hatred, and delusion. These mental states cause suffering not because they're morally wrong, but because they trap us in cycles of reactivity. When we're controlled by craving what we don't have, hating what we do have, or refusing to see things as they really are, we lose our freedom to respond wisely. Po's inner peace allows him to literally catch cannonballs with his bare hands and redirect them harmlessly. It's a perfect metaphor for how enlightenment works. When you're not fighting against reality, you can work with whatever life throws at you, even the most destructive forces, and transform them into something beneficial. Part 6. The Wisdom of Letting Go. Throughout both stories runs a crucial theme about releasing control. Master Oogway teaches this lesson to Master Shifu, who has been tormented by his inability to prevent Tai Lung's fall to the dark side. Shifu blames himself for his former student's corruption, carrying that guilt like a heavy backpack he refuses to put down. Oogway's wisdom cuts straight to the heart. You are too concerned with what was and what will be. There is a saying, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it is called the present. This isn't just a cute fortune cookie saying, it's pointing toward one of Buddhism's most liberating insights. The only moment we actually have any control is this one. Shifu's suffering comes from his attachment to outcomes he has no power over. He wanted Tai Lung to be good, so he ignored the warning signs of pride and ambition. He wanted Po to fail, so he missed seeing Po's natural abilities. Both attachments caused unnecessary pain because they were based on fighting against reality instead of working with it. The Buddha identified attachment as the root cause of all suffering. Not attachment to bad things, but attachment to any specific outcome. When we insist that life should go according to our plans, we set ourselves up for constant disappointment. When we can engage fully with life while holding our expectations lightly, we become free to respond to whatever actually happens. This doesn't mean becoming passive or not caring about anything. Poe cares deeply about protecting the Valley of Peace and his friends, but he doesn't let that caring become a desperate clinging that clouds his judgment or paralyzes him with fear. Part 7. The Unlikely Teacher. Perhaps the most beautiful parallel between these stories is how both Poe and the Buddha become unlikely teachers themselves. The historical Buddha was a prince who had never experienced ordinary human struggles like work, poverty, or family responsibilities. Yet his teaching spoke to farmers, merchants, and residents because he had discovered something universal about the nature of suffering and freedom. Poe, the clumsy panda, becomes a master who can teach others precisely because he understands what it feels like to be ordinary, to struggle, to feel unworthy. His teaching style isn't based on superior skill or ancient knowledge. It's based on genuine compassion and the hard-won wisdom that everyone has the potential for greatness. In the third film, when Poe trains the village of pandas, he doesn't try to make them into traditional kung fu warriors. He helps them discover their own natural abilities. One panda is great at ribbon dancing, so that becomes her fighting style. Another panda's skill at massage becomes a way to pressure point opponents into submission. Poe's genius as a teacher is seeing the Buddha nature in everyone, even when they can't see it themselves. This reflects the Buddha's approach to teaching. Instead of giving everyone the same instructions, he tailored his lessons to what each person needed to hear. Some people needed to practice meditation, others needed to focus on ethical conduct, still others needed to study philosophy. The goal wasn't to create identical copies of the Buddha, but to help each person find their own path to awakening. Part 8. The Ripple Effect. What makes both Poe's story and the Buddha's story so powerful is how their personal transformation creates waves that benefit everyone around them. Poe doesn't just become a great warrior, he brings out the best in Master Shifu, helps Tigress learn to open her heart, inspires the Furious Five to see beyond their limitations, and even transforms former enemies into allies. The Buddha's awakening didn't just end his own suffering, it provided a path that has helped millions of people over 25 centuries find greater peace, wisdom, and compassion. Both stories show us that genuine self-improvement is never just about the self. When we truly grow, we naturally lift others up with us. This is especially meaningful for people who tend to be more introverted or feel like outsiders. Poe's journey shows that you don't need to be the loudest person in the room or the most naturally gifted to make a profound difference. Sometimes the people who struggle the most to find their place are exactly the ones who can help others feel less alone in their struggles. The quiet wisdom that comes from facing your own doubts and fears head-on often speaks louder than flashy confidence. Poe's authenticity, his willingness to be vulnerable, his ability to laugh at himself while still taking his mission seriously, these qualities make him a leader that others actually want to follow. Part 9. The Modern Message. In our current world filled with social media comparisons and constant pressure to optimize ourselves, both Poe's journey and the Buddha's path offer a refreshing alternative. Instead of trying to become someone else's version of success, they invite us to discover what's already magnificent about who we are right now. Poe never stops loving food or being a bit clumsy. The Buddha never stopped being human with all the limitations that entails. Neither transformation was about becoming perfect, it was about becoming whole. There's a huge difference between those two goals. This ancient wisdom, whether delivered through Buddhist sutras or animated pandas, reminds us that the secret ingredient really might be that there is no secret ingredient. The magic we're looking for outside ourselves, in the perfect job or relationship or achievement, might already be present in this moment, in this breath inside ourselves, in this perfectly imperfect life we're already living. The next time you watch Kung Fu Panda, remember, you're not just watching a cartoon, you're witnessing one of humanity's oldest and most profound stories about what it really means to wake up, grow up, and show up as your authentic self in a world that needs exactly what you have to offer.